If you have clicked on this video, you must be looking between design thinking or project management. How about I show you both in this video and how you can use design thinking to up your game, up your project management game by 47% or more. Stay tuned. Hi there. So I hope you can hear me well. I'm just on my routine exercise on the weekend, and I thought I'd film this. I'm going to focus more on the first step of design thinking, combining with Agile Project Management, getting the right user group, okay, and building the right profile so that we can target the right solution for this target group. I'll take example of say in the society now we have school-going children not eating right in terms of activities which is beneficial for them. Example like exercise, going to the library, reading books, gaining knowledge, doing research, experimenting. So these kind of activities are really missing in our kids. Instead they focus on online games, sleeping late, hanging around in the house instead of going out to exercise, that kind of thing. So laziness built up. These are some of the things that I think in the society everyone is having the same issues with our kids. So even in UK back in 2018 they have launched a fintech app that focuses on children gaining more control over their activities, which is beneficial. Example like washing the car to get allowance, cycling, getting more outdoor activities, going to the library, buying books, those kind of things that is beneficial for them. Even in US, CNN has reported back in 2019 they have also developed an app that fulfills this part, whereby the kids can actually in return look forward to savings from the money that they have obtained as allowances from their parents for performing certain activities that is beneficial for them. Apart from that, they can also spend wisely, and parents can actually monitor their expenses through this app, fintech app, and also able to provide reports, monthly reports for the parents to monitor and to ensure the proper good habits in savings, expenses, and other things as well. So in Malaysia itself we have banks developing apps for kids as well. Example, early adopters in this particular niche in fulfilling the gap, making sure that Malaysian parents can monitor their kids, providing activities and encouraging their kids to save up by performing these activities to get allowances. Apart from that, they also spend, there's another fintech company that developed this app called Verco. They have about 12 private schools that are early adopters, and they are trying to also target not only the kids saving up, okay, spending on the right things, example like nutrition foods, and able to spend and able to monitor the expenses by the kids. So in this manner there is a savings, there is a credit card, an app, and also the nutrition monitoring. So this is a cloud-based system that is developed by a company. I think it is a good chance. So having said that, there's lots of opportunities here, so therefore the user persona is very important. So example, a generic one would be say working group people with above age of 30 and with school-going children, or a more targeted specific one would be say middle income group parents with school-going children under 12, right? And we can target this way, or even school-going children up to 17 years old. So this is what it means by targeted group. By building these demographics, we went through surveys, interviews, questionnaires that is distributed to this specific target to pursue and gather information to perform all this listing of the defining of the issues in step 2. So I'll see you in step 2. Hey, so I've changed some position and I've done some exercise. So I'm going to talk about the second step, which is related to defining the issues. In the design thinking, most important is we come up with the reason for doing this. In Agile Project Management and design thinking method is being used, right? So defining the issue is very essential. Back in step 1 video, I also talked about defining the issue. At the moment is I took an example of a fintech trying to fill the gap whereby our kids nowadays are unable to find interest in exercising and reading, going to the library, doing experiments, going outdoor, living their life. Instead, they confine in their own room. They perform lots of activities such as online games and stuff like that. So they don't go out, they don't socialize and that kind of thing. So it depresses all parents in a way. I'm also a parent, so I really feel it, and I think the gap can be closed easily by having say a fintech app. And I took this example. So defining the issue here, it has to be very specific. It has to be very detailed so that in the surveys and interviews it is targeted for parents and children to gather information and feedback and how they feel about if we were to launch this app, would it actually close the gap and meet the demand, right? If not, there is no purpose. So defining the issue here can be more specific and targeted, so that example, I spoke about all these issues at the front, and if we can define the issue even further, example, not eating right, we can actually provide an app that monitors the nutrition value, and if we connect with the school canteen and the provider, the food provider, right, is able to fine-tune their nutrition value in the food that they prepare for the kids, for our kids in the school, it will improve the quality of growth, because kids is our future, right? Kids are our future. So if we can target the issue very specifically, it can help in providing a better project success for you, and design thinking is tailor-made to do this. Okay, I've reached part 3 now. Part 3 is about ideation. So let's kick off by listing out some ideas to solve the issue. The issue here is kids nowadays are not spending enough time doing the right activities that is beneficial for them. Example, exercise, reading, going out, having proper habits in their lives. How do we do this? How do we solve this issue? So ideas such as, should we build an app to control them? Because nowadays it's all about technology. The technology era, kids are attracted to having apps. They don't mind having apps. Then they can monitor, they can perform a lot of activities and still get savings and allowances from their parents, and at the same time they can start spending wisely, right? Because the app, we can also provide help guides to tell them what is the proper way to spend, right? Proper way and a wise way to spend. We can compare prices of goods, that sort of thing. So a lot of things we can put inside. So these ideas we can build up as lists. Let's not talk about whether it's right or wrong, what's the best ideas. We just talk about building ideas funnel, right? This funnel of ideas are a pool of inspiration and creative ways to solve the issue. So that's focus for ideation. So building up this list of ideas, pulling up all sorts of creative ways from the users, from the creators, from the designers, sitting down and brainstorming all these things, all these ideas together. We can pick out the best ideas and pull them together, whereby it will solve the problem at hand. Okay, so I'm going to talk about step number 4. Step number 4 is about building a prototype and MVP, minimum viable product. Building a prototype is pretty easy, provided we understand what kind of features and benefits it will reap. Okay, so I use an example of issues number 1 in the society. Children are unable to have these good habits, right? Building in them, example, eating habits, good lifestyle habits, good reading habits, example like this. So they also don't have saving habits, right? They don't have proper knowledge on spending habits. So all these issues round up, we can actually think about building a prototype, because we have listed out the ideas to solve this. It could be a cloud-based app, it could be a fintech app, it could be maybe building lots of guidance articles, books given to them. But what is the best way we have developed to solve this issue? We're going to build a prototype. So prototype using system is pretty easy. What we do is we have to take care of many risks, many ifs, then else. So risks such as, say, what about data protection if we put on the cloud-based app, right? Would parents and children actually trust with the data being protected by the bank or the fintech company that is providing the app, right? We have to test that out. So yeah, that's an area to test. The other area is what about money, right? When they put the savings into the app, where do the money is going to, right? Where is it stored? How do we keep hold of the money? So is it have to be a linkage with a bank, right? If yes, what are the integration part that we have to take into account, right? Apart from that, integration API, that's pretty easy to develop, but we have to build that bridge, right, to solve the problem in the fintech app. Another issue is possibly the nutrition part. I talked about an idea whereby Verkle, one of the cloud-based app, has used this app to help monitor the children's diet in the canteen. So we have to build the relationship with the canteen as well, and API integration as well. How about schools? Would private schools be more receptive towards this idea? Or what about government schools? Because government schools are holding the largest database of children, school-going children, right? So all these things, you have to map it out before you build a prototype that fills all these risks and all these areas that is being used and considered when we use these apps. So if all these are covered, at least 70 to 80%, you can build a prototype. A prototype can be tested by a certain group of users, and as far as we are concerned, we built this user persona in step 1. We can use this user persona in step 1 to call out all the users to test the app. And with this, right, it forms a representation of the public's acceptance towards this app before it's properly launched in step 6. Okay, part number 5 is about this test and feedback loop. Okay, everybody knows in project management, testing part forms one of the largest portion and marks the success of the project. So test and feedback loop, as I've explained, so I'm going to give an example here. In the form of the prototype that's being built in part step number 4, we're going to actually test and feedback. Get the feedback from the specific users, target users that we are going to launch it to, right? And based on the idea of the step number 1, user persona, we can actually find the group of users to test this app out by inviting them to do a proper testing. So there are many testing scenarios that is given to the users to test out. One of the scenarios is related to security part. Okay, we can get them to test it out. The data protection, maybe the user interface, right? How friendly user interface that we've built into the app, whether the information accuracy, and also we need to link to the database of the schools, right? We need to get consent for that as well. So all these things have to be tested and get feedback from the specific users. So we can get raw data or sample data, example data that is being migrated into the app to test it out. However, it has to represent well enough into the public before it's properly launched in step 6. So I can give some examples here related to test and feedback. Is this app well encompass or include the proper user group that we're targeting in the user persona step 1, right? So this one has to be handled properly and properly documented before we reach the final step of step 6, which is launching of the product. So we've reached step number 6 now. Step number 6 is actually launching the final product. And yay, we have reached the final round, but I have to say this part is also very critical and very crucial, that we have proper planning. What kind of platform that we're going to launch this app on, what kind of publicity we're going to do to perform, to inform the public about it, and what kind of or receptive areas, and the acceptance from the public. How do we collect this and further improve, right? What kind of feedback from the public? Are they receptive to it? Are they pushing it back? Are they kicking it back? That kind of thing. And what areas that we need to look into if it's not performed well. So this has to be properly planned. And for example, these apps can be done and publicized in Vulcan Post, in FinTech News, in CNN, or get influencers to publicize, because it reaches out this specific user persona, and a large group of them are kids as well. So how do you find the video so far? Are you able to follow the steps from 1 to 6? Do you think you could probably skip some steps from, say, step 1, empathy or user persona, to, say, step 4, building a prototype? Why don't you comment below, so that I can understand where you're coming from and we can interact from there.